got Redwood from The Rise of the Golden Idol. We've got a murder and an insane asylum. And I think the chief goal here is to convey the sense of unease and chaos without making the player feel like they're insane too. So I don't know how many of you have ever checked out Pink Floyd. They have a lot of great albums. Their career spanned probably over 40 years. I don't know how long, but my favorite recordings of theirs came from the 70s. And this is my favorite album of theirs, Metal. And the lead track, the opening track, One of These Days, very much inspired this song, Redwood. It's really about the bass. The bass part of this song really sets a strong tone. Feels kind of crazy. It feels inevitable and unstoppable. And so I wanted to bring that emotion into Redwood. That's probably where the similarities end, but I just wanted to point out that, Pink Floyd still inspires a lot of people. I wanted this song to come in waves. If I had just allowed it to remain intense the whole time, it would just have gotten irritating and annoying for the player. So the idea was for it to kind of build, have a release, and then settle into some ambience. And then another wave comes. And then it settles down. That's the general idea, to try to keep it something that the player can digest and stay focused on the game and still convey this craziness of what's going on. So here's a quick example of one of these waves with this sort of Pink Floyd bass style and then settling into some ambience. Pretty intense, actually. All right, so we have this section kind of in waves here, and one aspect that's going on is what's going on harmonically. Well, it's basically whole tone harmony, or what you'd call just augmented chords. And if you had, what's the difference between an augmented chord and whole tone harmony? Well, it's just sort of like a chord is something that just happens in time, right? And usually it resolves. That's pretty common. We've heard that. But if you were to hang out, which is what happens in this song, and don't resolve it, you just sound nuts. And that's basically the feeling that's trying to be created, is using this augmented harmony and then the mode that's underlying it, whole tones, just so yeah, you're not firing on all cylinders if that's what's going on in your head all the time. So that's one aspect of how we make it feel insane, because we're in an asylum. Another thing that's going on later in the song, because you can't, it's kind of hard to keep that whole tone thing going too long without making the player feel like they're going crazy, is here an acoustic guitar comes in and we resolve a little bit. Okay, so now we're no longer in whole tone harmony. This is basically, our pedal is A flat or G sharp. So that's basically, 4 sharps, key of E. You could say first inversion because you got A flat in the bass, but it's not a vertical thing. It's not a chord, because the guitar part is playing clusters and the notes are kind of, you got lots of seconds, right? So that's linear, that's more modal. So that's why we're thinking of it, or I'm thinking of it, in G sharp Phrygian. So those are two things that are going on. A whole tone kind of world in the waves section, and then when it settles down, doesn't settle down a whole lot, it goes into something kind of tense, Phrygian. A final thing that's going on in this song, and it's something I try to do in every song, this is just a general concept, is don't only use instruments in your DAW or your sound libraries or whatever. Bring in outside instruments as much as you can. This track I've got electric bass, acoustic guitar, I use my voice in a spot, I even play recorder in one place. Outside instruments mixed with your DAW libraries will, I think, make it more personal, and it'll be more unique because you'll be playing instruments that you know really well, and it just doesn't sound the same when you play it yourself. You can't really create the same thing with your library. Sometimes they're just too clean, and when you do it yourself, there's something cool that happens that's better than what you would have done if you had just tried to make that solely in your DAW. So hopefully that stuff's helpful and it gives you an idea of what's going on. You can let me know if, this has a balance to it, or if it did make you feel kind of nuts and it's just, this song is just too intense. Let me know.